extend a little charity to the eager farmer's boy. Rees knew Lydia would have liked to join him, and probably the children as well, but no lady would be seen at such rude entertainment, so she must rely on his descriptions. The streets of Durham were thronged with traffic. Wagons jostled for space next to horses and mules. Pedestrians were forced to cling to the side of the buildings lest they be trampled underfoot. Rees shook his head in amazement. He had never seen the streets so crowded. And Rouge's Inn! The yard swarmed with horses and shouting men. Rees's hope that he could leave his horse and wagon there died. When he turned down an alley that went to the jail, he found this narrow lane almost as impassable. But he could already see a tall structure in the field that the Durham farmers usually used for Saturday market. It was so early in the season that market was just beginning. Later in the spring, the grounds would be in use every Saturday. Finally, Rees parked his wagon and horse at the jail. He watered Hannibal from a nearby trough and joined the mob streaming toward the large field. Affluent townsmen rubbed shoulders with sunburned farmers in straw hats and dirty clogs. At first, except for the arena built in the center, the fairgrounds looked exactly as normal, an occasional ramshackle hut interspersed with large areas of open ground. The farmers usually set up their wares in one of those small squares. This was how Lydia sold her butter and cheese. Rees lifted his eyes to the tall wooden structure, dazzling with colorful flags flying around the roof that dominated the field. At first, he did not notice how peculiar the building looked. But as he approached the flimsy construction, the lack of any windows and the slapdash roof became apparent. An arc of roofed wooden vehicles, the circus wagons, curved around the back. At several yards distant, he could see gaps between the splintered boards that made up the walls. Posters, all designed with a crude woodcut of a horse, papered over the widest of cracks. Rees directed his steps to a bill posted on the wall and paused in front of it. "Asher's Circus," he read. "Mr. Joseph Asher, trained by Mr. Philip Astley and Mr. John B. Ricketts, and just arrived from tours of London, Philadelphia, Boston, and Albany, is pleased to present daring feats of horsemanship, the world-famous rope dancer Bambola, clowns after the Italian fashion, and many more acts to amaze and delight." Rees grunted, his eyes moving to the bottom. Names and dates scribbled in by different hands and then crossed off filled all the white space, with the last being Durham, showtime 5 o'clock. Since he didn't recognize most of the names, he suspected they were for very small villages, not the cities mentioned above. Mr. Asher clearly had grandiose aspirations. Rees walked around to the front. An opening was screened by a shabby blue curtain, dyed in streaks and with the same look as the boards, used over and over for a long time. Now, more curious than ever, he bent down and peered through the gap at the bottom. He could hear the sound of hooves, and as he peeked under the curtain, he saw the skinny brown legs of a galloping horse thud past. "I really must begin my journey," Piggy Hanson's whiny drawl sent Rees's head whipping around. What the hell was Piggy doing here? Rees had not seen Hanson, or anyone else from his hometown of Dugard, Maine, for almost 2 years. Not since the magistrate had written arrest warrants for Lydia, witchcraft, and for Rees, murder. His family had had to flee for their lives. He did not think he would ever forgive the people involved, especially the magistrate who had enabled the persecution. Rage swept over Rees, and he turned to look around for the other man. He saw his nemesis. They'd been enemies since boyhood, standing in a cluster of gentlemen, their cigar smoke forming a cloud around them. With every intention of punching the other man, Rees took a few steps in his direction. But then his anger succumbed to his more rational mind. He did not want Piggy Hanson to know he lived here now.